Shalom, shalom. I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh Shem, Yahweh Shabbat, Shem, Kakadash, Tabanos, to the apostles and elders who rule and teach word and scripture and salutation, all Yakim out there is doing this work in truth and sincerity. Today's topic is going to be various topics, but one of the topics that I want to elaborate on is creation. And basically, in the beginning, the spirits were already here. They are already created at that time before they were given new bodies. So, according to Genesis and according to God and God's law, dealing with reincarnation, which is another topic, but God's law, on um, various matters, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai is the ruler over all things, and so the fruit of the of the tree of the knowledge and good and evil was never supposed to be eaten. Um, you know, especially during that time, there was no sin on the earth before that time, and so Eve was the first one to sin, and you have a lot of people that don't understand that the woman actually is responsible for bringing death onto the planet because she was the one that sinned first. Okay. Let's see. And it says, this is Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. And the Lord formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. And so, according to our apostles and elders, which is the true doctrine, the breathed life into the man, and he became a living soul. Breathed life into his breathed into his nostrils, the breath of life, and that was the understanding. So, according to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, he was already living at that point. He just had the understanding which gives life. Um, and so, give me one moment, Hakim. Okay. One of the reasons why the woman was created, uh, the very first reason why the woman was created was because the man was lonely. And so we'll get that and we'll get it in order. And the Lord, Yahweh said, "It is not good that the man should be alone. I will make a helpmeet for him." And out of the ground the Lord formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof. So, according to that particular precept, the man was alone. And so that's the reason why the woman was created in the first place. The woman was not created for God. And so you get a lot of women that's thinking that they were created for God and for the pleasures of God. The woman was not created for God nor the pleasures of God, but the woman was created for the man, to give the man pleasure and to be a helpmate for him. Okay. and to bring forth children, which is which is to be fruitful and multiply, basically. So let's go a little further. Okay, this particular precept is on Yahweh. Yahweh, you know, explaining to Adam and Eve what they can and can't eat. And so Eve is the one that was led astray because she's the weaker vessel. Okay. And so, she's a weaker vessel. She was into the philosophy, which is the fruit, and people actually believe it's a literal fruit, and it's not. And so, this is pretty messed up what the woman did, because the woman is the one that was responsible for sin being on the earth because she sinned. So there was no sin on the earth before that time. Um, to Adam and Eve, there wasn't any sin, so there was no reason for anything else to transpire, basically, as far as like judgment or anything like that, because everything was pure on the earth at that particular time. Okay, this is Genesis chapter 3, verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast. And so I'm going to stop and break that down. The serpent is actually a man. So the wicked was actually on the planet at that particular time. And so it's not some snake walking around, because a snake talking, not saying you know, that God, the Most High, can't make a snake talk, a literal snake talk. But, you know, there was no reason for a snake talking. And so you hear certain terms in the world, that guy's a snake, this and that. Um, this is what it's talking about. So it was an actual man. And so, I'm going to read this precept. This is Genesis chapter 3, verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord Yahweh had made. And he said unto the woman, ye hath God said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden. And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Yahweh hath said, he shall not eat of it. Shall ye touch it, lest ye die? And so, the one that's more prone to sin is the woman. And the woman is not only being a weaker vessel, but she's spiritually weak as well. And so, any strong thing is good as its weakest point. And so, if you have a chain, it's just as strong as its weakest link. If the link is weak, then the chain is weak. But if that weakest link is strong, the rest of the chain is strong. So, and the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Yahweh hath said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And so, that actually comes to mind with eating abominable foods, okay, which is physical, but this is spiritual. Okay, the abominable foods would be pork. So everybody knows, according to the precepts, that you can touch the animal as long as it's alive. It's clean to you. But the moment that this particular animal dies, you can't eat it, and you can't even touch it. And so you see our people, they eat pork and certain things of that matter, which is abominable. And so it's against Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, um, according to his law. And he's not going to change his law just because, one might want to eat pork. So moving on. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die, for Yahweh doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes will be open, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. There was no reason. Let me pause right there. There was no reason to know good and evil because everything was good. So what was the point of knowing good and evil when you should only know good at that particular point because there was no sin on the planet, on the earth at that time. So the serpent, i.e., a man, was very deceptive, and so this is actually this is an embodiment of Satan as well. And so Satan has a physical counterpart just like God has a physical counterpart. And so knowing this, a woman has to be guided because her spirit is off. Her spirit is naturally off. So she has to be guided in a straight path. And knowing that we live in the world that we live in today where sin rules the world and the earth is given to the hands of the wicked, the woman ought not to say anything, nothing but just learning the righteous way. Okay? And basically, if you ask me, the woman shouldn't have any liberty to do anything, but whatever she is told by her husband. And so reading on, and they heard the voice of the Lord Yahweh walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord amongst the trees of the garden. And the Lord called unto Adam and said unto him, Where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked and hid myself. And so going into that, Adam was naked. It doesn't mean that he was actually physically, literally naked. Okay. He was uncovered. And so being uncovered means that you sin, you've been exposed. And so that's exactly what that means. Uh, Whenever a person commits sin, exposes them um, to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And so with that, I'm going to close out. I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Rakakadash, and Shalom.